Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing another audio commentary, and this time I'm commentating on Game 1 of the MSL Season 4 Round of 32 Group G matchup, and I'm actually doing the entire group, and this is actually Flash versus Free, so I'm excited about this. I commentated on Flash versus Rumble, and Flash looked quite impressive there. Free is a decent and interesting player, usually enjoyable to watch, and this is very interesting here, guys. Free has sent one of his first probes out. He's only got 3 probes mining his minerals in his main, and this is crazy. I'm not sure what Free is trying to do. Has he just misclicked, or is he trying to do some sort of a weird proxy build here? This is insane, and this is absolutely huge, and this could backfire badly for Free if he gets scouted here. It does look like he's heading straight for Flash's base. To call this an early scout would be an understatement. It certainly doesn't look like a scout, and yes, he is sneaking around the cliff line in Flash's base, and I'm not sure what he's going to try and do here. He's put up, that's his first pylon obviously going up, so it looks like he's going to do some sort of a rush. We have seen this executed before by other players. I remember famously Boxer building a barracks in UV's base and beating him with it, but unfortunately losing out in the other best of matches. I've seen this happen to Nada, where a Protoss player, I can't remember who it was. It was one of the guys who used to cheese all the time. I can't for the life of me remember which Protoss player it was, but I remember he did it to Nada, and he did it successfully and won the game. So Gateway now going up for Free. The question is, if Flash sends that SCV out to scout, and Flash thinks he's going to be walling off his choke, and this is kind of clever by Free to send a second probe out, because Flash is going to expect to see the second probe coming, and seeing the second probe, I'm not sure if he was actually sending that probe as a support probe to help his other probe, just to defend it in case it got scouted with the proxy in Flash's main, or whether the purpose of that probe is just to let Flash think that Free is indeed going for a normal build. Obviously, Flash is going to be in huge trouble, because those Zealots, once they get past that choke, if they're inside a Terran's main, they can wreak some serious havoc, and Flash's micro skills are going to be tested, because there's no way this Gateway is going to be scouted by Flash early on. The question is, even if Flash gets into Free's base, and this the other advantage of this probe with Free is he's stopping Flash from getting a scout off by keeping Flash's SCV occupied and busy. He's actually delaying Flash's scout for as long as possible, which means that Flash, because had Flash just got the scout off and gotten his SCV down to Free's base, he would have seen perhaps one less pylon than there should have been, or at the very least the lack of a gateway would have suspected a proxy or something. I think a saving grace for Flash is that he hasn't chosen to fast expand or anything like that, and now Flash has lifted the racks, but the Zealot is out, and this is crucial. Flash looked like he lifted the racks, or maybe he was just trying to get the block off. Free hiding the Zealot for a little bit longer. I think it would have been better off sending the Zealot out. I guess Flash was just trying to perfect his block. He felt the block wasn't comfortable, but Flash is going to be in huge trouble here. He's now, I think he must have seen it with that SCV now. He's got that SCV, and he must have seen that. If he builds a bunker, we will know this straight away that he has seen. He's building a factory. He's building a factory, and this is going to be bad for Flash. If he can keep that factory from being built, if he can concentrate his Zealots on the SCVs building the factory, I think he'll have a really good chance here. One Marine out for Flash. Free trying to take it down. Decent micro by Flash. One of the SCVs gets taken out by Free. He's only got a couple of Zealots and a probe. I think if he committed himself to this attack, maybe he should have started up a second gateway. That would have really helped him. He's lost the probe. Flash defending brilliantly with a handful of SCVs and a single Marine. That Marine is going to get taken down now. Another Marine pops out. Flash forced to use all his SCVs, so he's not mining anything right now. He knows he just needs to get that factory up, and potentially he could get into Free's base, and Free obviously not getting any gas. Flash obviously is getting the factory. He's getting actually starting up the cybernetic score, and now Free with the Zealot popped, and brilliant by Free. He takes out the SCV that's building the factory, but Flash responds straight away by popping another one on it. That Marine is almost dead, but so is the second Zealot for Free. He has got a full health Zealot wandering around. Flash forced to return some, and that factory is finally complete. This is crucial for Flash, that he starts building a vulture straight away. Free trying to chase the Marine down. Brilliant by Flash. He maneuvered the Marine into that little gap between the barracks and the supply depot to keep it out of range, because the Zealot can't get through that gap, even though the Marine can. So essentially, this is going to be the end. He's still got 3 Zealots in there, but once that Vulture pops out, you feel he's going to be able to kill those Zealots. So it's just a question of how much harassment and damage he can do. He's going to try and pick up that other Marine. One of the Zealots gets taken out. He's still got 2 Zealots. The second Zealot dies as well. Not before dealing a decent amount of damage to the Vulture, though. But one Zealot on his own is not really enough to do much damage to a Vulture. So he's got another Zealot. He's continuing to pump those Zealots out, trying to keep Flash busy for as long as possible, considering the fact he didn't have a gateway up in his base, and he realized how crucial that was. And Flash obviously forced. So Free has done a decent amount of damage to Flash's economy here. He's killed a few SCVs. I don't think he's killed too many, but he's killed enough. The question is whether he's killed enough to offset the resources he's invested in that pylon and gateway inside Flash's main, which is now going to get taken out. Looks like Flash is going to focus on taking this down Free with another Zealot, and he's going to Flash microing the Marine away just in time. I thought Free was going to lose that Marine there, and looks like Flash actually Flash has actually repaired that vulture as well, and that was good play by him. So Flash now has been pumping SCVs the whole time. He's returned to mining. There was a significant amount of time where he wasn't mining at all, and I think the crucial thing to remember here is that all of that time, while all of this was going on, Free was using the time to build up his economy, and Free has got double the number of probes as Flash has SCVs. Obviously, I'm just guesstimating very, very roughly here, but I think Free has executed a sublime maneuver, and Free with the Dragoon popping out has managed to pick off one of the Marines straight away, and the ability of the Dragoon to not need to melee allows him to actually maneuver around the map, and this is very clever by Free to actually pop a Dragoon out of that gateway just before the pylon got taken out. I thought he would have stopped making units in there, stopped investing in resources. He's got a Dragoon blocking his ramp as well, so this is pretty clever play by Free. I think this would be ideal for him if he could tech now and get a Reaver down there, because Flash isn't really in any position to cope with it, and Flash now starting off, and Free has gone into Flash's protected expo. Flash now starting off his machine shop, so it'll be interesting to see what sort of strategy Free goes from here. He's definitely given himself an economic lead. I think the onus is going to be on Flash to do something special here to come back in this game. A second gateway going up for Free. He's mining from that extractor. I don't see any tech going up, so it looks like he's concentrating on goons for now. And it'll be interesting to see how much of an advantage this is really given Free. I think Free did a decent amount of damage. He's killed a lot of Marines, so Flash was forced to produce a lot of Marines from that racks, probably a lot more than he would have liked to. A couple of vultures now out for Flash. And he also lost a fair few SCVs, and he also lost a lot of mining time with a lot of his SCVs. And Free looks like he's decided, rather than going for the tech, I think the tech would have probably been the better option, but I think Free has decided he would like to cement his economic advantage, and is now building a nexus in his protected expo. Definitely, I think Flash, with all to do at this point, Flash is now researching his machine shop. I would venture that would be spider mines he's researching for his vultures, because he obviously doesn't have a siege tech out, so he's more than likely researching spider mines, and that's good for him because obviously Free hasn't started tech yet. Free now starting the robotics facility. I would guess that Free would anticipate those spider mines and would therefore, realizing that Flash is behind, would probably get an observatory first before he puts down the robotics support bay, although I still think the robotics support bay might be a good idea for a bit of early harass. And Free, Flash just trying to draw Free out of his base. This is a bit of a tongue twister, Flash and Free with all the Fs. Free for Flash and Free for all. Anyway, so Free is building his protected expo. Flash has now decided to take his natural expo rather than his protected expo, and that's an interesting option. I guess the reason behind that is because he's worried about that shuttle harass coming in. It is more difficult to defend the protected expo from an aerial assault early on in the game, and I guess that's the reason why Flash has decided to go for that expo. We've seen that decision from other players in other games, and now Flash has got those spider mines down from his vultures, and that's crucial. So it'll be interesting to see whether Free's opted for the shuttle first, or whether he's opted for the robotics support bay first, or for the observatory. Certainly, I think the robotics support bay would be a good idea, considering how far behind Flash is already, and he'd have a very difficult time defending against any sort of attack that would come aerially. And it looks like the observatory is going up first. So Free going to just try and cement his economic advantage. He's going to continue to pump out goons. Flash now setting up his second factory, and also his armory, probably in anticipation of the fact that Free might be coming in with a shuttle. So he feels that he obviously is not going to get an engineering bay, enough turrets in time to defend, and he wants to keep the pressure on Free with his units pushed out front. And now Free putting up the robotic support bay. I still feel, instead of trying to cement his economic advantage with that second nexus, Free has allowed Flash a little. I still think Free is very much ahead in this game, but I think he's allowed Flash back a little bit into this game, because Flash only had a handful of Marines. He lifted his racks. If Free had gone in with a shuttle and Reaver, he could have done serious damage to Flash's economy, and that shuttle couldn't possibly have a Reaver in it at this stage of the game, unless he's taking Dragoons or something, or just trying to scare Flash a little bit into staying in his base. That shuttle obviously could not have had any Reavers in it that early on, and Flash repairing his vultures. He's quite low on units. He couldn't really invest the resources in order to pump up units, because he's trying to catch up by putting up that command center, and Flash desperately trying to catch up in the game, and that was a little bit silly by Free, because I think with it maybe he was trying to scout or something, but I'm sure he's got observers for that, just sending that shuttle out to do nothing, and now the observer goes out, and he's bound to see those spider mines now, and it looked a little bit of a silly maneuver by Free there to just expose his shuttle to Flash, let him spot it early, unless maybe he's trying to play mind games with Flash here and try and kind of force Flash into investing more in defense than he would otherwise have. And Flash has got those two Goliaths out, and I think it's a good move to have those Goliaths. But we've seen before, especially when Zelos was playing Jangbi, the lack of turrets really hurt him when he tried to push. Although this is a smaller map, so it's not as much of an issue here if you don't have turrets. But again, with a handful of Goliaths, I think Flash is going to find it difficult if Free came in with a lot of Zealots and Dragoons. So Free now taking his natural expo as well, and really powering ahead in terms of economy. I feel that he's really let the pressure up. I think that early harass did give him a decent advantage early on in the game, and he's going to be in trouble here, because I don't know if he anticipates those Goliaths for for Flash, and he's just dropping the Reaver just to scare off those Vultures. Flash now taking his protected Expo as well, and those Goliaths are going to intercept that shuttle. This is going to be huge if that shuttle goes down along with the Reaver in it. That shuttle just getting out of the range of the Goliaths. Flash is, I'm not sure if Flash has got more units. Flash has got more units, he's bringing them in. Freeze managed to drop the Reaver, a single Reaver with a couple of Zealots to support it, so I guess he's not going to do a lot of damage in terms of that, but he's going to be able to force Flash to cancel that command center release, and Flash is forced to cancel that command center. Reaver shot going off, hits both of the Goliaths, and that Reaver really dealing a lot of damage, and forced to retreat those Goliaths. Flash was, and Flash is now got a siege tank coming into the battle. He should be able to put it in siege mode. I don't know if he hasn't researched siege mode yet. He doesn't seem to have researched siege mode, or at the very least he's deciding not to use it. And Free force, and that was actually quite excellent shuttle micro and Reaver micro by Free, despite the fact that his opponent had Goliaths. And this is where you see the risk of not having any turrets up, and unfortunately for Flash, this is the disadvantage that he's found himself in because of the early harass, and Free really cementing his, and oh my god, he just lost about three Dragoons. Free losing about 3 Dragoons to Spider Mines. I'm sure he saw those Spider Mines earlier with his Observer flying past. He must have known that there would be Spider Mines in that path, and really he had a chance there, I think, to close out the game, and he's giving Flash a chance here, but now he's got the Stargates up, and Flash is just too far behind, especially since he was forced to cast that command center. I think Free's going to take this game comfortably, so a brilliant, audacious maneuver by Free early on, and really, you can understand that Flash wouldn't have expected that. You know, if you think about the psychology of the game, a Terran player is not likely to just start going around scouting his own base early on, and he's not likely to build buildings in that corner of his base early on either. He's more likely to build his buildings to block off his choke, especially his first couple of buildings. I guess one of the lessons maybe to be learned from this, that maybe there's a suggestion that maybe Terran players should try and build their second supply depot in that sort of position, so that none of their base remains unscouted. But really, it was just such an unexpected strategy that Free basically sent his probe out straight away before even mining anything with it to Flash's base, and Flash now is cornered in that base. There is no way I feel he's going to have enough Goliaths or economy to be able to cope with 3 Stargates pumping carriers. And I have to say, Free, shuttle goes down, and I think that shuttle probably had a Reaver in it. I don't think it'll hurt Free at this stage. It would have hurt him if Flash had caught him off earlier on, but I have to say that Free coped excellently with Flash's Goliaths, and he managed to inflict significant damage when I thought he would be able to because of the Goliaths. But unfortunately for Flash, he sent a couple of his Goliaths out to try and intercept that shuttle early on, and Free just managed to survive. Obviously, Flash didn't have the resources to have the upgrade for that, for his Goliaths. If he had the Goliaths upgraded, he would have probably been able to take that shuttle out, but ultimately he wasn't able to, and now we're going to see carriers coming from Free, and when those carriers arrive, I think it's going to only be a matter of time and the game is really going to end. I really don't think there's anything Flash can do. It's usually the Terran player who has the contain setup on the Protoss. Here we've got the absolute opposite here. Flash has got a handful of Goliaths and a couple of siege tanks, and I think it would be an absolute miracle if Flash manages to pull out a victory here. I don't think he's going to. And Free looks like he's going to take the victory here. And if I had been asked to call the game before it started, I would have probably given it to Flash. But Free showing some innovative, audacious play. But the question is, I don't think first of all, I mean, yes, he did okay with the shuttle micro, but I think that was the fact that Flash was so far behind. Flash is really upgraded. He's got a couple of those armies there. I guess he realizes he really needs to get max range out of those Goliaths. He's got to know that carriers are going to be coming his way, and it perplexes me that he's continuing to produce all these siege tanks. Protoss player that far ahead. Maybe it's easy for me to say this, just having seen what Free is doing, but you would have to feel that Flash maybe needs to get a ComSat or something and get some scans in or get some sort of scouting. He's just completely boxed in his base. Free able to afford to have a decent ground force. He's also got that star port up, so it'll be interesting what he's going to do with that, whether he's getting that for the science facility, or whether he's trying to get it maybe to get a dropship. He's certainly not gone for the control tower, or whether he's just getting a Wraith to maybe try and hunt shuttles, because he anticipates Zealot bombs. He anticipates Free coming in with a ground force to finish him off and mop up the game, whereas Free has very wisely made the switch to carriers, and Flash obviously with no intelligence whatsoever. I've got to take it back. I don't think Flash has any way of knowing that those carriers are coming his way. He's got a decent number of Goliaths there, but I think he's not, and the science facility is up. I must have missed it earlier. So the science facility is up for Flash, and Flash with the ComSat scan taking out those observers. With the ComSat, he must have scanned Free's base by now and probably have an idea, and those Goliaths are upgraded, so crucially those Goliaths are upgraded, and Flash is building a lot of ordinary factories, a lot of factories without machine shops, and my guess is that he's doing that in order to try and cope with the carriers. And I'm just hoping that maybe Free, with his reluctance to push in early, has given Flash a chance in this game. But the problem for Flash is just he just doesn't have enough units. He just is so far behind that I don't think he has enough units to cope with the combination of Free's ground forces as well as his carriers, and Free just has complete control of the map and is spreading even further. He's taking another expansion now in the middle left top part of the map, around the 9 o'clock position, and this is just going to be hurting Flash so much. I think this game is finished, guys. I think that brilliant maneuver by Free, even though Flash coped very well and managed to survive. I think he was too far behind from that point, and then the Reaver harass with the two Zealots did it for him. I've got to say, I'm interested to see how well this game would have turned out. Flash looks like he's deciding to push, trying to put some pressure on his opponent. Unfortunately, it's too late. Not that it's his fault. He's trying to do everything. He's trying to do everything right, but Free has enough of a ground force almost to be able to cope with Flash has. Never mind when the carriers were in on the equation, and I think Free has more than enough to put Flash's army to the sword here. And Free's also got a shuttle with his units. Obviously, Flash is going to be able to hunt them down with his Goliaths, and Flash is trying to make some sort of a barrier, trying to make it so that it's more difficult for Free's units to just march in there. But of course, with those units spread out as they are, Free is just going to be able to come in with his carriers from behind and just go and harass Flash's economy. Flash just doesn't have enough Goliaths to do everything. And this time the shuttle might get caught off guard by those Goliaths. He's actually gone around the back. Flash has actually gone around the back and actually he managed to sneak into Free is gone around the back and managed to sneak into Flash's Expo, but Flash manages to push him back. So Free just dancing around Flash at this point in time. He should just really finish the game. I think he's got more than enough at this time. I guess he's happy to control the game. He realized that he's so far ahead that it's his opponent that really needs to take the impetus. And another Goliath being sniped off with those goons by Free. And Free, I think he has more than enough units there to be able to just charge in and just take out his opponent, because Flash hasn't laid enough spider mines down. Those tanks aren't siege. I think if he just charged into Flash's National Expo, he'd probably kill it off. Flash though has built up a significant fleet of Goliaths, and here we see Free with the harass, just trying to pick off those siege tanks before they can get in within striking range of those Dragoons, and especially in a map like Loki where there's so many ridges and cliffs and hills to maneuver around. You've got to give credit to Flash though. He's really come back in this game as best as you could possibly have expected him to, but he's bleeding those tanks like there's no tomorrow. And now with the ground force coming in, I think this is going to be pretty much the end of the battle. Free can pretty much just attack and go here and finish off the battle. Flash though, very clever positioning of his units. Looks like Flash is actually going to hold his defense here. This is brilliant defending by Flash. Brilliant defending. Oh my god, I'm incredibly impressed. I can't believe it. Godlike defending by Flash. That was just brilliant. He had a couple of siege tanks at the top of the ramp. Aggressive play by Flash. He had a couple of siege tanks at the top of the ramp. He had his Goliaths in the middle and more siege tanks at the back. So even though Free managed to push in with his ground forces, this is ridiculous. I can't believe that Flash is fighting back here. This is brilliant by Flash. Even if he loses this game, this is brilliant. Lots of Zealots coming in though, and it's going to be difficult for Free to fight those Zealots as well as those Goliaths. His Goliaths are going to take some damage from his own siege tanks. He doesn't have too many siege tanks left. Free obviously focusing on the siege tanks with his carriers, and Free has a lot of carriers there. Unfortunately for Flash, I think he's lost a decent number of Goliaths, and once again another carrier is getting picked off. Flash sniping the carriers. Looks like he's going to take on just another carrier. Another carrier dies. Flash reduced to about 4 or 5 carriers, and Free is actually into the new Expo that Flash is building. Free's going to be able to take it out. The question is Flash is going to be able to take it out. The question is whether Flash has enough Goliaths remaining in his main, whether he's able to amass a decent force there to defend against his carriers, or these carriers going to wreak havoc on his economy. And I cannot believe that Flash has turned this game around. Free with such a massive advantage just sat back and switched to carriers. And how many times have we seen that? It looks like Flash has got enough Goliaths to actually scare those carriers away from that Expo as well. Flash decided to switch to try and take out and this is just ridiculous with the extra maneuverability and the advantage Free had. I cannot believe that he's thrown this game away. I have to say, guys, I just completely did not see that Flash could possibly come out and win this game, but it looks like that is exactly what is going to happen. Absolute genius play by Flash. This kid has got everything, but you've got to say Flash played the best he possibly could under the circumstances. But that being said, and Free now very late, unfortunately, with those High Templar, I guess he just didn't count on his opponent producing the perfect response. And really, I don't think Flash could have played this any better, but I think Free made a lot of mistakes after his initial advantage. I think he should have pushed that advantage home. He should have either teched up and gone in with an early Reaver harass before Flash had the opportunity to get those Goliaths up. He was very slow on that, and now Flash is losing his natural Expo, and he just doesn't have the ground forces. Even if he does, Free is losing his natural Expo, and sorry, this is the F and the F confusing me here. Even if Free manages to do damage to Flash's economy and take out his protected Expo, it's completely irrelevant because Flash has got such a superior force on the ground that Free cannot do anything at this point, and the switch to carriers has basically killed Free, and Free GG's. Flash owned them there. Brilliant by Flash. Looks like I'm eating my words there, guys, and Flash has proven me wrong. This Wonder Kid continues to amaze. Brilliant play by Flash, and Free is free to go and reminisce about his catalog and catastrophe of errors there. Really poor play, and really he deserved to lose based on his indecisiveness. Well played Flash, and Free throwing that game away, but that was brilliant. This is Klazart, guys. Thanks for listening.